Hey everybody, it's the Raspberry Stitcher special edition floss tube for the Jessie Watson Autism SAL. I want to thank everyone for joining me, being here. It's Sunday, the 29th of March. I had to think about that. We're going to start the SAL on April 1st, just so you know. I am really excited that you're here, whether you're going to be stitching this with us, whether you're going to be watching along and cheering us on and just learning about autism awareness. That is just wonderful that you're here and participating in the way that you can participate. I really want to thank a couple of people. So Catherine Adrian of Stitching in Costume, thank her so much for joining this SAL with me and getting all her stuff together and promoting it on her floss tube and her Instagram. So if you haven't seen her, go check her out. I will have her linked below. And then Nisi Lynn, thank you so much for joining the SAL and promoting it on your floss tube. I really appreciate the support from these ladies. Someone else who isn't doing the SAL but totally supporting me, which I'm thrilled about, is Kim from the Contented Stitcher. So she also, if you haven't checked her out, you need to do that because amazing wall behind her every time. But these three ladies have been huge support, and I'm really thankful that they're promoting it and supporting me and just cheering me on. So thank you, ladies. So let's get started. The SAL is going to be Jessie Watson. I'm sure many of you have seen this one, by Hands Across the Sea. And it's Jessie Watson 1816. The reason I was really drawn to this was that heart. And I think a lot of people are drawn to it for the heart. I'm drawn to it for a slightly different reason. The heart reminds me of the Autism logo, which is a puzzle piece. So the autism logo of a puzzle piece means basically that every individual with autism is like a puzzle piece. You're always searching and figuring things out. They're made up differently and put together maybe a little differently than what people think of as, quote, normal. And when I put that in quotes, nobody is really truly 100% normal. Everyone has issues and things going on and, you know, things you have to deal with. Being autistic, sometimes you have a little bit more. So this kind of reminds me of those puzzle pieces being put together into this heart. And he is my heart, part of my heart, along with the rest of my family. But this just kind of symbolizes that for me. And that's why I chose this particular sampler. I have gotten the sampler broken up into sections. So this first section here, just the top border, and this band will be for April. These two will be for May, then June, July, August. Kind of went down and did September through here, then went to 8 here, 9, 7, 8, 9, sorry about that. And then 10, 11, I put 2 months together to do that house, and then ending in April with 12 with the eyelet heart. I'm going to be stitching all the way through April 11th. I plan on finishing this and the heart on his birthday next year when he turns 20 and is no longer a teenager, kind of marking more of an adulthood for us with him and going into that next phase. So that is the outline. I'm going to try to get that somehow. I have it on my Instagram page, and I plan to try to get it linked to this video every time if I can figure out how to do that. So in a like PDF type form or something. I do have some fabrics I'm going to show you. I'm going to show you what I'm stitching it on, but I thought it'd be good to bring some different flosses and fabrics to show you guys if you haven't decided. So my choice is this beautiful 46 count baby sheet by Xjudesign. And I have bought some Vicki Clayton silks that she dyed up for this particular sampler. And you can see here, I've shown it on my Instagram. I've shown it on some different Facebook pages, but here is the silks, and they are gorgeous. Here it is. This particular linen is a very buttery cream. I'm not sure if it's showing up as that. Let me get more of a tan with it. So this is more of a tan, so you can see this is a little more buttery cream. So I'm really enjoying that. I also did pull the 40 count in Baby Sheep, and it is even more like cream, like buttery. So it would be very pretty also. If you'd rather do a smaller, a little bit, you know, bigger count, it's one up. Then I did pull, this one here is Xjude. This is lamb's wool. Here is the Baby Sheep. And then I also pulled R&R French Vanilla. So you can kind of see, these are all in a 40 count. All of those would be really pretty with the colors, depending on your taste and what you would like. So I pulled those. I also pulled a couple of 36, because I know some of you like 36. So I pulled one, a toasted mallow, and it is by number 12 Stitch Co. And then I also pulled a Dixie Sampler Daisy Dew. So I think those would be really pretty with these colors. So I think anything like that would be just luscious. I also, to show you, and all of mine are kind of on bobbins, so I'm going to try to lay these out. I'm going to pull this 40 count Xjude Baby Sheep and kind of show you the colors are really pretty, even if you're going to do it in DMC. I really like them. The only thing I might do is this color for the pink is a little, from the picture, seems a little darker. I might go a shade or so lighter. This is, I think it's 223. Let me make sure I have the stuff right here. Yeah, 223. So you might want to just go a shade lighter. And it might depend on the fabric you choose, but with the lighter fabric, I'd almost want it a little lighter. But those are the colors. They're really pretty in DMC. I pulled a few that I had in the 103. So I have a few of those. And those are some really pretty colors also. So you can see, very nice. So if you had some of those would be great. And I unfortunately only had a couple in the Veriswa. So I just had a few of one of the blues and a couple of the greens, but really pretty colors. So many options there. And again, if there's one or two colors slightly that you think, oh, I'd rather have it be closer to this color, change it. I always change it. So wanted to show you some of those and let you know if you do have any questions about the SAL, just message me, instant message me. I'm on Instagram as Raspberry Stitcher. Leave comments below. Let me know what's going on and what you have questions about. So this is charted in all three of those different threads. So DMC, 103, and a Veriswa. Also, take the DMC, and if you want to do it maybe in some overdyes, just match those up. Those would be great. I don't think you could go wrong. There's not that many colors. They're pretty distinctive. I do believe you still can get the conversion from Vicki. She's changed a little bit the way she's doing things, selling some of them individually instead of in packs. But I'm sure if you contact her and let her know you would like to get the conversion for Jessie Watson, I'm sure she will oblige you and help you out. The colors are very gorgeous. I particularly love how bright this blue is, even compared to this. I really like the brightness and the springiness of that. And even like this, you can tell she went a little bit lighter with her pink. But I really enjoy how bright these colors are. So let's see here. I wanted to kind of go over, Nicola has this set out with different types of fabric, so you definitely can do it on Aida. You would not probably be able to do the eyelets. It would be very difficult. So you could change to like a Smyrna cross or just do cross stitches. You can definitely do satin stitches still. So she's got the design size out for 28 count, 32, 36, 40, 46, all the way up to 62, 52. So I'm going to do it on 56. My total design will only be like 5 by 7.5, a little over 7. So it would be tiny, but it's going to be adorable. But if you did it on 36, it's still about 8 by 11. So that would be perfect size. really nice size. 40 count is about 7 by 10. So those are good ranges. If you would rather do 28 or 32, you're going to be more in the 8 to 9 by 15, 12 to 15. So it's a really nice smaller sampler, which I think is a great place to start. So if you haven't done a Hands Across the Sea, this would be a great one to start with, just because there aren't very many different types of stitches. Most of it's cross stitch. Like I said, the biggest thing would be the satin stitch, which is just the regular cross stitch. This is going to be your eyelets. Satin stitch are just straight stitches. Totally nothing to be afraid of. Great diagrams. This is a download off of Hands Across the Sea, so you can download it and print it right away. So yeah, if you have any questions about the actual stitching part, stitch along, feel free to let me know. The next portion I'm going to go over is just a little bit about autism. My plan is to have one of these special floss tubes every month towards the end of the month, so you'll know where we are with my stitching, what sections we're going to stitch next, and just chat about some of that. And then I'm going to talk a little bit about autism from my perspective, from my family's perspective, more of a personal perspective. I think it's great. There's a whole community of autism. There's a lot of different things you can look up and find out. But what I think sometimes is missing is the personal aspect of how it affects families in different ways. So that's what I wanted to bring to this month for autism and really the year. So to make it understood that this is a lifetime, year-long, daily, weekly diagnosis that just doesn't change or go away. So first, I just want to say right now the prevalence of autism in the US is 1 out of 54. When my son was born in 2000, it was 6 to 7 in 1,000. So to put that in perspective, it's about 18 to 19 in 1,000 right now. So that's pretty much doubled, or a little more than doubled. So the prevalence definitely has gone up in the 19, 20 years that my son has been diagnosed. And that does make me a bit sad that we still have not figured out why this really happens. Autism is very hard to understand because it is diagnosed through not strict diagnosis of like blood work or genes or things like that. A lot of it is definitely, they're working towards that, but a lot of it is diagnosed through behavior. And behavior is really hard to categorize because it is subjective. And many behaviors happen for different reasons or look all the same for different reasons for the actual reason for the behavior. So a lot of things get categorized into autism when they can't figure out a source, but the behaviors look like autism. And it doesn't mean it's not. It's just that autism is what they call an umbrella. It is a spectrum from some people who have more severe or more challenging behaviors to some that have more controllable or more what people really perceive as what are called quirks, little differences. My son was diagnosed when he was 3. And we knew something was going wrong pretty early with him. My daughter was in speech therapy, and we thought at the beginning he just needed a little speech therapy, he would be fine. That was not the case. He consistently kept getting what in my mind was worse. He was not speaking, he was not having eye contact, he was running around, he stumbled a lot, he didn't play with toys appropriately. He was a happy child, but he was not an interactive child. He was for quite a while, and then he had a huge regression and just didn't really look you in the eye, didn't have the same type of contact and interaction that my daughter did. And she's about 18 months older than him. So they're, not quite 2 years apart. They're about a year and a half-ish. So I really had a good reference point of where he should be, just having her. So that was a very difficult time. And he got the diagnosis. We went to a very reputable hospital, Children's Hospital, to get our diagnosis. And it was, even though we knew we were probably getting this diagnosis, it was very traumatic and difficult. And it was, what made it even more difficult is that the hospital that we went to, you would never question their diagnosis. I mean, that is one thing that was a benefit from going there, but they also didn't really help. They didn't really help us focus on what we could do, where we could go. I didn't feel like there was a lot of resources they gave us. They really didn't have that many resources within their facility, even though they had a quote autism section type of area in their hospital. It didn't feel like they really had the help you would need. We also were living quite a distance at that time from that hospital. We ended up moving closer to find different therapies. Some of the therapies we found, some of the hospitals didn't agree with. There was a lot of back and forth between what you should do, what you shouldn't do. There was never a clear path for a parent, and which is very difficult when you're in the midst of, total confusion, sadness, and in some cases, a little bit of despair, because your child needs help. You don't know how to get it, and you don't know what to do. And sometimes it makes you even more despaired when you don't have those resources. And I think what a lot of people don't understand that aren't in the autism community or don't know somebody that has autism or a child with autism is you think that those resources are out there. And at that time in 2002, this was 2002, it still wasn't really out there. We searched on our own. I got right on the internet and started looking everything up that I could, realizing right away that where we lived did not have the resources. The schools did not have the resources, because the other thing is that at the age of 3, the public school takes over all resources for your child. So before 3, there's early childhood intervention, which we did. We did speech therapy twice a week, physical therapy once a week, and occupational therapy once a week that he qualified for because he was behind developmentally. And we went through that. And then the school takes over, and they are supposed to provide those resources for your child. So there's what's called early childhood in the school system. So they take from 3 up till the point they're in kindergarten, and even through then they have resources, special needs resources that they have, speech, OT, physical therapy, those types of things. As a parent, what you don't realize is that, yes, they have those, but for your child who is so far behind, the amount of therapy and help that your child needs is more than a school can really give. So you have to start looking elsewhere. So we did that. We started to look at other avenues and found some therapy. And we decided to take him to that therapy and moved our whole family closer to that therapy. And for a while, I even drove back and forth hours every day, Monday through Friday, to get him therapy for, 4 hours a day. It was a financial burden because most of the time this is not covered by insurance, because it is not seen as a real, at the time, not a therapy that would lead to recovery from autism, which is kind of a misnomer sometimes I think in itself, and that's debatable in the autism community also. My son will never recover from autism. He will always have autism, but he can live a full, beautiful life, and to his ability and the best of his ability. And that's what we strove for through the last, 19 years. And there are ups and downs. But one thing I want people to know, that on one side, you don't always have the resources that you need. B, there is something that you can do if you know of somebody that has a child diagnosed with autism, especially new. Help them research, help them get different links, find some people in your community that they can talk to. Those kind of things would be beneficial to that parent or that family, even if maybe you know the grandparent, maybe you know the sister or brother, maybe you know the aunt or the uncle for that parent. Just helping in those small ways are super beneficial, because at that time, that parent is so overwhelmed and consumed, and also at the same time trying to just take care of their children and their family, and maybe they're working, which I was. It is very difficult to do all the research yourself and figure it out, because if you start looking online, you'll realize that there are thousands and millions of different things going on. Especially now, it's definitely gotten better. When I first looked for some therapy that my son could go to that was intensive therapy, there was probably only 4 places that I could, actually look at. And I think I only was able to go view 3 places in person. So I didn't have many options. And now there are definitely more options, especially around here. There are definitely more options to look at. It's definitely grown. It's not where it needs to be, but for early childhood, definitely those options have exponentially grown in the last, 19 years since I started looking. I will say now the disparity is in older children and finding avenues to help older children and young adults and adults with autism. That'll be in a later floss tube. But I want you all to know that my son gives me total joy, his smile, his unconditional love. And that's one of the reasons that heart on that sampler touched me, was because that reminds me of the total unconditional love, that my son gives me. And I want people to know that it's not all about the sadness, that the happiness that he gives us in our family is truly a blessing. He is a super joy. And I'm hoping by the end of this, you'll understand more that even though he's different, and even though we have challenges with him and struggles, that the joy and love we have for him is beyond what I can even totally express. So I'm going to bring it together, and I really hope you follow me on this journey. I think it's going to be a wonderful journey, a wonderful stitch for a beautiful cause, and I will see you next time.